Welcome. My name is Penelope Chatterton. Welcome to Awaken the Dream. My friends, I have my buddy Sonny back this week. This is now the Reverend Frank Gaeta, and he has been doing Sonny's Florals at Channel 17 for 15 years. I've been here 19, so it's so much fun for us to team up and be comfortable here together. And he's just doing a wonderful job. He has a new ministry. He is combining gardening, spiritual work. He's a very interesting fella, and he's just an example to me of how we redefine ourselves as we get older, and our missions just are given to us. I mean, we'll go out and a newspaper will drop and you'll see something on the cover and you'll say, aha, yeah, that answers something within me. I mean, it's just sort of wonderful to walk on water. And today you want to talk about spiritual gardening, and I don't know if you want to start with reading this, Sonny?
Yes. Actually, I have, for the spiritual gardening, it's called Earth Blending. I now blend with the life-sustaining fertile earth. I take on the qualities of fertility, growth, and involvement with the earth gives to all things. I become one with the hills and mountains that raise their majestic heads to heaven in spiritual and perpetual adoration of God's creative power. I now take on the qualities of earth's beautiful seasons, all the flowers and plants that grow upon the fertile soil for the future harvest. Oh, this wondrous green kingdom! I feel the cool, refreshing rains that beat upon the earth, all the elements which cause Mother Earth to echo joyous songs of creativity, release, a creation of divine love.
Oh, who wrote that?
Unknown.
Unknown?
Unknown. It's so beautiful.
Where did you find that? Earth Blending.
It's called Earth Blending. It's just, I was going through some different things and it just was there, and I said, boy, this is appropriate. And I just found this prior, to our doing the show.
By no accident.
And it was like I said, oh, of course, well, I had something else, and then that just appeared.
Yeah.
So I said,
it just came.
We'll use it.
Yeah. Nice mirror.
And with gardening, it's great, especially now. Spring is right around the corner.
Yeah.
You have to start getting your ideas together for a garden.
Yeah.
And like I've mentioned before, you have your butterfly gardens, your wildflower gardens, herb gardens.
Yeah. Makes sense for our friends watching this show about seasons, because we've just gone through a pretty rough winter out here.
Yes.
And things get brown and drop. And do you have a metaphysical or a spiritual concept of the rebirth process or the protection of leaves covering things? I mean, do you think about that?
I do, actually.
The rebirth?
The rebirth. That's one of my favorite seasons is spring, the rebirth.
Oh, yeah.
Because everything is starting anew.
It smells good.
It's like the metamorphosis, the change.
Yeah.
The old goes and the new comes. But I like old-fashioned methods with putting the garden to sleep in the winter, and then as long as we have a lot of rain and water and moisture, protecting things if you cover them with leaves.
Yeah.
Because leaves you're putting back, you're giving back to the earth, which you take. And actually, the word Gaia is Mother Earth.
Yes.
And a lot of people don't know that. And I heard it yesterday at a service that I went to, and I said, wow, I use that word. And now it's being used a lot.
Yeah. Was that the Earth cycle or whatever? I'm trying to remember the Earth mass.
Right. It's
oh dear.
Gaia is it's Mother Earth.
And it's incredibly beautiful. It is so gorgeous, that piece.
And it's just something that I enjoy, and just starting out a garden. I mean, now you look through all your seed catalogs, and when you plant your garden, there's so many different angles of it. And with the New Age aspects of things, the metaphysical aspects of gardening, if you like mysticism for gardening, you have your fairy gardens you could create.
Yeah.
Which you do the circle. It's just digging out a circle of a grass area. You take it out, you plant your seeds, just a ring of one particular type of flower, and you put the grass to grow, and you put a little wind chime in there. And they say in an area where you hear the wind chime tinkling, that means that you're having a visitor.
Oh.
Of the little fairy.
I saw a
sleigh.
Japanese garden once that was, to me, just so, with the rocks, and it was a beautiful experience. I mean, how many different kinds of gardens you can have.
The Zen feeling for a
Yeah.
garden. It's
Oh.
all pertaining to nature, the tranquility of
Yeah.
you're bringing the wildlife into a garden, the sound of water, the wind, which are 4 elements.
Yeah.
And your elements are all part of a garden as well. You have,
Now, you've made this beautiful garden, but I want to drag you back to winter for a second, because
Okay.
do you advise your friends or your gardeners on, all right, it's coming, and we don't want this to be lost, we want to do everything we can to protect it. Do you have advice on how one battens down the hatches? Because, as I say, we've come off this really hard winter where, you know, how do those plants survive all this? Does nature take good care of it?
nature takes care of things. Nature is an actual pruner of trees. When you see limbs
Yeah.
falling and breaking out, well, that's nature's way of
Okay.
pruning.
Yep.
I always cut roses back in the winter. Hydrangeas, I usually let the hydrangeas stay until they're finished. You know, when they have the blossoms
Yep.
and they dry, and then I cut them back like now in the spring when you see the new leaves starting to come on.
Yeah. They survive.
I manicure them. They do,
Yeah.
and they do. And I give them a bed of leaves in the winter around, because the leaves they like they're acid loving,
Okay.
so that when that
Yeah.
decomposes, and then I clean what's left off
Yeah.
after.
But I would think there'd be some prep when you finish the season and fall comes and all of a sudden it's getting darker and everything's coming down, that if you love gardening, you want to do everything you can to make sure that everybody's taken care of before
Exactly.
spring comes.
Even some things, if you do a burlap protection covering, like a little enclosure with burlap, if you have.
I've seen that. I've seen people.
Yeah, it protects it. It just gives them a little bit protection. If you have sensitive boxwoods, and especially in a windy area where you have a lot of our lovely windstorms, that just gives them the little bit of protection. You just
Yeah.
take a piece of burlap, wrap it around with some twine, and then as soon as the weather changes, it's like putting a blanket
Yeah.
around
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
And you protect it.
Yeah. So spring is rebirth. When you go into summer, your rebirth has then gotten full. It's
Right.
sort of like, what's the word?
Well, you do the pruning, and
Yeah.
then you do the deadheading of the flowers, just to keep everything,
Okay, the pruning
trimmed
is
definitely.
is
'Cause
what
then
needs
things
to
get
happen. You're talking to
overgrown.
such a non-gardener. This is great. You prune them. You get them.
You prune them,
Get rid of the stuff that looks tired.
and right, the tired, the weeding, which is
Okay.
always there.
No
I don't-
cure.
Especially when you have the hot humidity, the weeds grow.
You don't want to use those
And-
awful weed killers.
No,
What do you do?
I'm very organic.
Okay.
I would go even plant food. I use. I like the Neptune. It's like a fish emulsion.
Ah.
It smells, but it's good. And actually, what people do too, that I've noticed since I've been living here on the Cape, they go to the beach and they use the seaweed as a fertilizer because the seaweed has iron in it.
That's true. My
And
kids will
it's-
drag it back west.
And it's natural.
Stick in
and
the car
it's
the whole
good.
way. They don't care.
No, that's the best fertilizer. Recycling eggshells or peelings.
Cantaloupe, all that stuff.
Yeah, just do a garden compost, and that's good. And then the worms for the garden, all that, and then you create this beautiful garden. And I don't like to use chemicals because I noticed a lot of people like to have the perfect garden. I like the natural garden because the perfect garden you won't have any of your insects, especially butterflies.
Oh.
Butterflies are very sensitive, especially when their eggs are on a flower, and then people start using chemicals and spraying, and then that kills the insect.
Yeah.
Without butterflies, then you don't have pollination.
Yeah. What's a wildflower garden mean? If some people